Can Bucky Barnes save the soul of a wayward child in the clutches of Hydra, or is it all too late? Well, let's hop into the pages of Winter Soldier issue number 5, the finale of this Kyle Higgins miniseries, and find out. Alrighty then, so as we join the comic, we check back on in with RJ, the kid and former Hydra assassin that Bucky has been mentoring. He's been stood up by his deadbeat dad once again, making this another truly terrible, heartbreaking moment this kid had to spend in a diner, and if you've been reading the book up until now, you know this guy has the worst luck in the world with diners. Why is his dad not coming this time? Well, it's because he's dead, and Winter Soldier is sort of to blame for it. He didn't actually put hands on him. The dad killed himself by slipping drunk attacking Bucky. But still, if Winter Soldier didn't intervene, this terrible accident wouldn't have happened. No doubt the dude was a scumbag all the same, but Bucky feels absolutely terrible about it. That's why he and Sharon Carter are in the woods right now looking to dispose of the body. Sharon thinks that all of this is crazy and that Bucky should just come clean to the kid, or at the very least should have left the body. Bucky's not so sure. He knows that RJ is walking a very thin line right now, trying to redeem himself and undo a lot of the Hydra programming, and he fears that the whole dead father thing might very well push him over the edge. Or, as is sadly too often the case in situations like this, spend the rest of his life on a revenge-fueled quest trying to find whoever the killer might be. That's no life for a kid after all. RJ, as we've seen, is pretty well trained himself and is ready to hunt down clues himself as to where his father might be, but when he goes digging through his apartment, he ends up finding Mr.Colt, his old Hydra handler who broke out of prison. Now, there was a time when RJ was absolutely terrified of this guy, but he's willing to get a little payback right now. Obviously, Colt is a slimy snake in the grass and is able to use RJ's own tragedy against him. First by saying that if RJ kills him, he'll never find out what happened to his father, and then eventually sharing with RJ a bunch of pictures from the alley attack showing that Hydra did indeed have their hooks into RJ's dad. This news absolutely devastates the poor kid, and he's not sure what to do next. He knows he has to get away from Bucky, though, who wants desperately to come clean to him. When Winter Soldier tries to stop the kid from running away from his problems, it ends up leading to a massive fight. Only, fight might actually be giving it too much credit because Bucky never actually raises his hand to RJ. Bucky basically lets the kid go hog wild on him, unloading all of his anger and rage in that one moment on his poor face. Comfortable at least in the knowledge that RJ wouldn't kill him. He's come too far now, made too much progress, and he doesn't want to backslide. Not with Bucky, at least, that is. RJ does end up backsliding into murder, but not with the Winter Soldier. You see, Mr.Colt gloats a little too loudly about how his plan worked so perfectly, and now RJ will happily come back to Hydra of his own free will. Oh, he comes back alright, he just comes brandishing a bunch of lead homecoming gifts, and buddy, that ain't cookware, I tell ya. And it's right around there that the comic ends up winding down to an ultimately pretty bittersweet little conclusion. Bucky and Sharon see that RJ's dad is properly buried, hoping that maybe one day he'll come to visit. Sure, he was a slime and a leech, but everyone deserves a little respect. Bucky is obviously heartbroken over how things went down. He truly thought he was reaching out to RJ, truly thought he could save him, and by extension, well, save a little piece of himself. Sharon, always the voice of reason, reminds the Winter Soldier that there's a big difference between helping people and saving people. You can't save everyone in the world. Sometimes they need to save themselves, but you should always try and help. And that when you're a superhero, there's never any shortage of people who need help as the comic finally comes to a close. And so that was Winter Soldier, everybody, and I gotta say, this ended up being one of the most pleasantly surprising miniseries I've read all year. Kyle Higgins clearly had a well thought out emotional through line and journey and new status quo for Winter Soldier, and it all worked really well here, even if the ending is something of a non-ending, because, well, I feel this is one of Marvel's many wait-and-see types of stories that if this sells really good in trade, maybe they'll bring him back for a volume 2 or maybe an official ongoing. I feel as a 5-issue mini, this all works really well together. There's a lot of strong themes about redemption and second chances and who deserves them and what we should do if ever given them, stuff that's really true to the character of Bucky Barnes and Winter Soldier. The book also looks great, too. It's rare that an artist like Reyes is able to balance these sad, melancholy moments with the big action moments, but here they work really well together. Overall, I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. This was a really strong series in my mind, and I hope we do get to see this story continued somewhere down the line. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again. I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not take a look at some of these other videos I have available from the channel. Then you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cape Joel, so you're always up to date on what I'm doing next. And hey, if you're in the market for some cheap comic books, might I recommend Book Depositor? They're my favorite place to get cheap comic book trades, and if you use my link down in the description, not only will you save a bundle by not having to pay a cent for shipping, but everything you do buy goes to support me in the channel. So you win, I win, everybody wins, right? And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'm going to continue making comic book videos that smack of greatness. Bye-bye.